Welcome in. Thanks for stopping by again on such short notice. Today we are back with another quick edition of IDP. Today we have some post-punk, some indie rock, indie pop / power pop, and even some electronic pop from Norway. Recently had some travel and some building inspection stuff kind of put me behind my normal schedule, my normal routine. So we're a little bit behind, but you know, eventually we'll get caught back up. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Today's up first, we have the debut LP for a band out of Montreal, Canada. They are called Ribbon Skirt, and their debut album is titled Bite Down. It's out now on Mint Records. Yeah, so the band Ribbon Skirt was previously known as Love Language. I think they possibly, I don't know this for sure, but I think they possibly changed their name just because there's a number of other bands similarly named. There's even a band called The Love Language that's out of North Carolina, I believe. And then there's other Love Language bands as well. This has kind of a mildly psychedelic, grungy, 90s alternative rock sound with strong female lead vocals, has some synths, some electronic elements as well in there with that, you know, grungy guitar, 90s guitar rock sound. This was produced by Scott Monroe of the Calgary post-punk band Preoccupations, and I would say this also at times has post-punk vibes that you can hear as well. Other points that maybe even gets a little glam rock, you know, mixed into that as well. So I would say a solid debut LP overall. It's 9 tracks, just under 30 minutes, so it's short. It gets in, gets out. Maybe doesn't all work for me, but there are a number of tracks that really stand out and are, I think, really good. Once again, that is the band Ribbon Skirt, and their debut album is titled Bite Down. Next up, I believe this is the second full-length LP of original material for the project called Sharp Pins. The name of the album is Radio DDR, and it's out on K Records / Perennial. So Sharp Pins is basically Kai Slater, who is also the frontman for the Chicago art punk group called Lifeguard, who actually have an album coming out, I believe, this summer as well. This is lo-fi, very homemade sounding indie pop with a lot of 60s and 70s jangle and power pop influences, lots of hooks, a very nostalgic pop with modern flair sound. The album is, like, as I say, has a very self-recorded lo-fi sound, and it even sounds from track to track like it was recorded with varying equipment, so it kind of, if that makes sense, it sounds different from track to track even. And I do think that low-finess could be a turnoff for some people, but I find this album to be fairly delightful overall and just full of a lot of ear candy. So I was a little bit confused about this one because it was apparently just released in March officially, but I can remember seeing full reviews of this album back in the fall of 2024, and I'm starting to think that maybe it was originally just a self-released album that was then picked up by K Records and Perennial. Probably something I should have looked into before speaking about it here, but I was somewhat confused. I believe even on a Snob versus Douche, we talked about this album briefly. The Snob had I think liked it, and we talked about it there. So I was seeing this, I thought this was yet another Sharp Pins album, but in fact, it's just that one. Again, what do I know? So because of the fact that, like I say, this was possibly very easy, I think it was easy to stream back in the fall. A lot of the pop kids have already been all over this one. But I would say if it did pass you by and you hadn't already checked it out, I would say if what I say sounds intriguing, I'd recommend giving it a whirl. So yeah, that is Sharp Pins, and the LP is titled Radio DDR. Next we have the debut studio LP for it's like I will call it a project that features Bernard Butler, who was the original guitarist for the band Suede. He's also in the Tears, McAlmont and Butler. He also has a number of solo albums. I really liked. I still really like his second solo release. So it's Bernard Butler, then it's also James Grant of Love and Money and Friends Again, and then also Norman Blake, who is of course best known for being in Teenage Fan Club, BMX Bandits, and many other bands. Yeah, so the project is their three names. So it's Butler, Blake, and Grant, and this is a self-titled debut album, and it's on, I think, Bernard Butler's record label, which is called 355 Recordings. This is kind of a three-headed monster singer-songwriter project. All three of the members kind of split songwriting duties. They all sing. Has a guitar-heavy folk rock feel, I guess you could say, with really wonderful, vocal harmonies between the three of them. Almost akin, or you could say maybe a modern spin on Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It's nostalgic in feel and also in the subject matter of the songwriting, I would say. I'd say if you're a fan of any three of these guys, you'd probably find something worth latching on to here. But again, it's not really trying to reinvent the wheel. They're not doing anything crazy. I think this project kind of came together in a live situation. They toured together, and so you can see on YouTube they perform. For instance, one that I saw is like the Teenage Fan Club song "Everything Flows." Like they do that live when they tour, and others of their songs as well. Yeah, so this is one of those things where they kind of did a live tour, and then maybe I guess that turned into what is now this debut studio LP. So again, that is Butler, Blake, and Grant, and their debut LP is self-titled.
I didn't mean to disabuse you. I was just so scared I'd lose you. Nothing left to hold on to, so we hold on to the hurt.
All right, next we have the sophomore full-length release for a Norwegian musician. Her real name is Nora Shelderup, which I'm sure I'm saying wrong. I'll put it on the screen perhaps, which she goes by the pseudonym, I guess, Aura the Molecule. And this album is titled Dance Therapy, which is out on Mute Records. We did talk about Aura the Molecule's 2021 debut LP, which was titled Human Safari, on this channel. I really like that one. More of an art pop / weirdo pop record with electronic music elements. I actually did re-listen to that one after initially listening to this one, and I really still enjoy it. I really dig it still. So I think for this second LP, Dance Therapy, this may be a situation where artist kind of takes a turn. Maybe we could say a left turn and kind of just leaves me behind. This is kind of a doubling or tripling down on retro futuristic dance pop. Some of the songs I think work and some of it doesn't. Some songs have like a strong Daft Punk influence, I would say. At least a couple times, I think pretty strongly. Other songs are really just more almost like retro futuristic disco. Like it has elements of 70s electronic music and current DJ kind of music as well. This might be one you just maybe need to be in the right circumstance or the right mood to really get into, but at this point, up till now, on a whole, somewhat of a letdown to me versus the 2021 debut Human Safari, which I think was more of a collaborative album, as this is more of just her, just Nora, who I think has become more entrenched in the Norwegian electronic music scene, I guess, and that is what really is at the forefront of this album. Yeah, so I think some people might enjoy this much more than I do, but like I say, I still think there are some good songs on here. Once again, that is from Norway, Aura the Molecule, and her sophomore release is called Dance Therapy. So the band Miniskirt